Essential basic music theory all musicians should know. I've separated this into 4 general topics, which have been time-stamped. Let's go. So time and rhythm. Note values and rests are broken down as fractions, like in maths. Whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, and 32nd notes, etc. Notice how the value halves each time, but the number of notes double. These notes are also called semibreves, minims, crotchets, quavers, semiquavers, and demi-semiquavers. But the fraction thing makes more sense, which leads nicely onto time signatures. Time signatures are the numbers that we see at the beginning of a piece of music notation. They kind of look like fractions. As music is divided or organised into bars, the top number of the time signature tells us how many beats are in each of those bars, so each bar has to correspond and add up to that number. The top number affects how the piece of music actually sounds in terms of its pulse. The bottom number tells us which of the note values, as we discussed earlier, represents these beats. Let's go back to the fraction thing. So if the bottom number is a 4, that represents quarter notes, or crotchets, which means a quarter note equals 1 beat, then a half note equals 2 beats, an eighth note equals half of a beat, a whole note equals 4 beats, and so on and so forth. The note values always stay relative to one another. If the bottom number is a 2, then a half note now equals 1 beat, so a quarter note equals half of a beat, a whole note equals 2 beats, etc. If the bottom number is an 8, then an eighth beat now equals 1 beat, a 16th note would equal half of a beat, a quarter note would equal 2 beats, etc. Also, if a note has a dot next to it, it makes that note half as long again so we can get beats of 3s. Phew, that's the maths part over. So, as the bottom number affects only how the music is notated, you can have the same piece of music sound exactly the same, but look very different on the score. See? Clefs, notes, and the stave. There are 4 main clefs in music, which are these symbols representing a range of pitch. These are called bass, tenor, alto, and treble, with bass and treble being the most commonly used. Notes are placed on a stave, which is made up of 5 lines and 4 spaces. Higher up the stave means higher pitch. Lower down the stave means a lower pitch. Notes can also extend beyond the parameters of the stave. These are called ledger lines. There are 12 pitches in music that just repeats. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the first 7 letters of the alphabet, which can all be sharpened, which means to be made a semitone higher, or flattened, to be made a semitone lower, which leads me nicely onto the next topic. Scales and key signatures. We first need to explain what tones and semitones are, as I mentioned previously. A tone is basically the distance between 2 notes that have a note in the middle, like a C to a D for example. A semitone are 2 notes next to each other that don't have a note between them, like C to a D flat for example. Pieces of music are usually in a major or a minor scale key signature. A scale consists of 7 different notes that have to have one of each letter name in some form. There are formulas we can use to work out these notes in these scales. Let's take the major scale first. The formula is a set combination of tones and semitones, which is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Any notes that have to be altered in order to comply with this rule, sharpened or flattened, becomes a key signature of that scale that we see at the beginning of each line on sheet music. Even B, C, E and F can be sharpened or flattened. Sharps and flats are not just the black keys. That key signature represents the scale, the set of 7 notes, the piece of music is using. Any notes used that are different to those 7 notes are called accidentals. For every major scale, there is a minor scale that has the exact same notes. This is called the relative minor. The relative minor starts from the 6th note of the major scale. For example, the relative minor to F major is D minor because the D is the 6th degree of the major scale. Every key signature represents a major and a minor scale, For those who would also like a formula for the minor scale, it's tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. Minors are often modified to what we call the harmonic minor. The only difference is that the 7th note is sharpened as a reoccurring accidental, giving it a different effect. Now, I have an entire separate video on key signature hacks. Go and check it out, I've linked it below for you. Chords. Chords are 2 or more notes played together at the same time. 2-note chords are called harmonic intervals. Chords are formed from scales. A triad chord comes from the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note from that scale. These 3 notes are unique to that chord, no matter what order they're played in. A piece of music will generally use any of the 7 triad chords that are formed using the notes of their scale. These are called diatonic chords, which stay true to the notes within the key signature a piece of music is in. Any notes that don't belong to that key signature are again called accidentals, or altered borrowed notes. I have an entire playlist on chords, which I've also linked below for you guys. So, that's essential basic music theory every musician should know, and there is obviously more to learn and expand on. If you'd like to put this music theory into structured practice and learn even more, and then enroll to the Bitesize Piano course. Again, the link is in the description and pinned comment. Have a good day! So that's the end of this video. If you would like to leave a request, leave them in the comments section below of this video. I've also left some videos here that I think you might like, so go and check those out as well. I also have a course. Visit bitesizepianocourse.co.uk and you can enroll and start learning how to read music. I'll see you in the next video.